You may wonder why this cartridge case is sitting on the table today. It is the cartridge case from the last shell fired by 3rd RHA, 3rd Regiment, the Royal Horse Artillery in Hong Kong. When I was political advisor there, the garrisons changed all the time, and just as I was arriving, they were just about to pull out. And so sometime in the autumn of 1974, 3 RHA had the last exercise in the new territories, and they knew that I'd been in 2nd RHA, and some kind officer gave this to me as a memento to take home with me. So it is a horse gunner's cartridge case, but not my regiment, the 3rd rather than the 2nd.
But you had in Hong Kong?
Yeah. In Hong Kong. I brought it home from Hong Kong. Now, what was it? Oh yes.
About the war. So what was it like in Germany? You were there. How long had it been since the war had ended?
The war ended in 1945. I did my national service in 1949 because the National Service Act was passed in 1948 when everyone was supposed to do 2 years with the colours and certain about 5-6 years with the reserve. But those who had a place in the university in the autumn of the 2nd year would only have to do 18 months. So it was my mother who rather cooked this thing up. I left school at 17 in March 1949 and did my calling up papers, went to Oswestry and left the army just about October or September 1950. So I was in England until the end of 49, and then we went to Germany. I was there for about maybe 6 or 10 months, I can't remember. It was a very strange experience because we were with the 7th Armoured Division. We were part of the 7th Armoured Brigade of the 7th Armoured Division, the Desert Rats. I used to have a Desert Rat on my uniform. We were an army of occupation because the Federal Republic of Germany, that was West Germany, only became a country again, proper country, not under occupation, in 1953. So those who did the national service in Germany after 1953 could fraternize with the German population, could learn German, mix freely in the towns, because it was an independent country again. But we were an army of occupation. They were absolutely forbidden to talk to the Germans anywhere.
Even though the peace treaty had been signed, they were still the enemy. Is that
yes,
effectively?
We were an army of occupation. Well, yes, they surrendered. You see, that it wasn't a peace treaty; it was a surrender.
Ah.
Nazi Germany surrendered just like Japan, so that we were an occupying force until they could get themselves together again. Mm. So that the only German we could speak to, and he didn't want to speak to us, was an officer from the German cavalry, an Uhlan, U-H-L-E-N, who was our Rittmeister, who taught us riding. The commanding officer, Colonel Block, good name, Colonel Block, said that all his officers should learn to ride because we were a horse gunner regiment. And so I was taught to ride by this German riding instructor. And he knew damn well what he was up to because he would take us on the Harz Mountains between Hildesheim and Hanover, where we were, and galloped away, and all our horses did the same. And before we'd got to the woods, most of us sprawling on the ground, we'd been thrown by our horses, all our saddles, in terrible mess. He enjoyed it immensely, I think, revenge for the war.
And what was the feeling like? I mean, between, when you went into the town, I mean, you were...
And then we had to go places like a Naffy. You didn't go to shops. We didn't go on trams. We went in by our own vehicles to the NAFI in Germany.
You couldn't go to a restaurant or to...
No.
Goodness.
That was known as fratting.
And frowned upon. I mean, that was...
Oh yes, forbidden.
And what was the atmosphere like? I mean, was there still hatred towards Britain, or...
Sullen. Very sullen. So very subdued. And I remember going to Dusseldorf to try and throw the hammer, which is another wretched story of mine, on behalf of the regiment for the 7th Armoured Division's games. And another officer and I met up with two girls from the Control Commission for Germany. We had a Control Commission that governed Germany, and Berlin was divided into 3 parts, 4 parts. France, Britain, Germany, France, Britain, America and Russia. Well, after the games, I think we took the girls out for a drink. And then each of them said, would we like to go back individually to their flat, have some coffee? And I thought it was perfectly normal, so that's fine. And I went back to her flat and not knowing quite what to do. I was only 18, you see, so it was a bit difficult. And she took her shoes off and curled up on the sofa and said, let's get comfortable. And suddenly I thought, when a girl takes her shoes off and says, let's get comfortable, what's going to happen next? And then I said, I'm terribly sorry, I forgot, I've got an engagement, and ran like a rabbit back to the safety of the British Army.
It was a German girl? Or?
No, it was a British girl. Yes, I don't know what the other chap did, I never asked him. But I think I was invited to do something, but I didn't know what. You can see that life in the Aberdeen Grammar School, the fetches in the army, was not very productive for one's love life. So when I went to Cambridge, which was 19 men's colleges and 2 women's colleges, you didn't get to know very many women at Cambridge either, unless you imported them from London or from somewhere else. And I had this terrible experience. My mother worked in the Irvine Girls' High School in Aberdeen, and the headmistress was a formidable woman called Miss Rose. And Miss Rose had a niece, and she asked my mother, as she was going down south to visit Cambridge, could I look after her? And in my innocence I said, well, would you like to go to the asparagus ball? So she dressed up and we went to the ball. And I took her time to take her back to the hotel, and going through one of the passages close to the Dorothy ballroom, she suddenly pounced on me, pushed me into a doorway and started kissing me. And I thought, oh crumbs, what the hell, what are we doing, what's this woman doing now? She really was attacking me and just seized me, you know. And I had to push her away and said, no, I think I'd better take you to your hotel.
But was she attractive? Or?
No, she was rather plump. But you can imagine when I went back to the college, people like Jeff Lewis and Desmond Horton would laugh their heads off and said, oh yes, poor old Alan, that must have been a very great experience. And forever afterwards they were always ribbing me about not taking advantage of the situation. So...
But back to Germany for a moment.
Oh, sorry.
So, that's right. No, so was there a sense that it had been a Nazi? I mean, had it been denazified, or was there a sense that the local populace felt that they'd been let down by Hitler, or how did it? Or did you never really got to tell?
I didn't speak to any Germans. I learned a bit of German songs, which were sung by the British Army, the marching song.
Yeah.
Na 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 na. You know that one? It's a marvellous one.
Yeah.
And lots of drinking songs.
Yeah.
Eins, zwei, Zufall was a great one.
But you couldn't go to the beer cellars or
No,
anything?
no, absolutely out, no fraternisation whatsoever.
So it was a very unusual experience then. You were only talking to other people in the army and you were in a country without ever really seeing it.
Well, what I remember was I was away for a month on divisional exercises in the Lüneburg Heath, where we drove our tanks and our guns all over the place, through cornfields, through absolutely, we ruined the countryside. And I was a bit upset about that. I thought, we're not doing Germany much good driving over the land this way. And they just said, oh, the German farmers get compensation for it, that's all. End of story.
So you could basically just drive your tank wherever the hell you liked.
Yeah.
And even if you destroyed a crop, it was...
They were the enemy, we were just occupying them. It was very strange, you see, people now who go to Germany think of the Germans so strong, but gosh, they were weak then. And what is, to my mind, very impressive, I mean, they were so downtrodden and abject because of the war, and poverty too, and terrible poverty in the Germans, that I'm amazed, if you look from 1950 to 2016, how they've totally recovered everything. Their morale.
In one generation. In a single generation.
One generation. Amazing.
But at that time they had felt sort of psychologically destroyed or something, or...
Just about,
or there was no sense of who
no
they
national
were.
pride, no. And it was only when there was an agreement with the Russians and the Americans and the French that the occupation had ended and they could make themselves a Federal Republic of Germany from 1953. And then again, I remember, after I retired in 1991, I used to go to something park, was somewhere in Sussex, to teach the Germans democracy, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh.
Very weird.
Did you mention that you had been occupying their country?
I didn't talk to any. I haven't talked to any German about that. We just kept on like that.